When you picture earthworms, you probably imagine a single slimy helper tunneling through your garden, improving the soil like magic. But the truth is, earthworms aren't a one-size-fits-all solution. They come in different types, each playing a unique role in the soil ecosystem. Some stay at the surface, others live just below, and a few dig deep tunnels that change how water and nutrients move through your soil. Knowing the difference between these worms, and how to attract the right ones, is the secret to building truly healthy, self-sustaining soil. Let's dive straight into the three main categories of earthworms and break down exactly what they do, what they need, and how you can create the perfect environment for each. The surface dwellers, epigeic earthworms. These are the worms you'll often find in your compost pile under mulch or in a layer of moist leaf litter. Epigeic worms don't live in the soil itself. Instead, they feed on organic matter sitting on the surface, rotting leaves, vegetable scraps, and decomposing plant material. The most popular epigeic species is Eisenia fetida, also known as the red wiggler. This worm is the backbone of vermicomposting systems and can consume its weight in organic matter every day. Epigeic worms are small, often reddish in color, and extremely efficient at breaking down organic waste into castings. These castings are loaded with nutrients and microbial life, making them one of the most valuable outputs you can add to garden soil. But while red wigglers are champions in a compost bin, they won't survive well in your garden soil unless you maintain a continuous supply of soft organic material on the surface. So, to attract and keep epigeic worms, you'll want to create compost-rich zones in your garden. Just regularly add things like chopped leaves, kitchen scraps, and even shredded paper or cardboard right on top of the soil. Be sure to keep everything moist and protected with a nice layer of mulch. Remember, these worms really thrive in the decay layer, not down in the dirt below, so don't bury the food too deep. Think of them as your surface cleanup crew, and honestly, give them plenty to clean up. Endogeic worms, sometimes called the soil mixers, live within the top few inches of soil. Unlike their surface-dwelling cousins, these worms actually eat soil particles along with decayed organic matter. As they digest this mixture, they enrich the soil from the inside out. They're not flashy, you rarely see them, but their activity is just vital for aeration, aggregation, and nutrient cycling. Their movements create small horizontal tunnels that open up compacted areas and allow roots to breathe and grow. These worms are usually gray, pale, or pinkish, and they lack the bright color of epigeic worms. They really prefer consistent moisture and stable environments, which makes them pretty sensitive to disruption. Excessive tilling or chemical use can easily wipe them out or send them deeper underground. If your goal is to improve soil texture and fertility over time, these are the worms you want in large numbers. The best way to attract endogeic worms is to stop disturbing the soil. Avoid tilling, and instead use sheet mulching to feed them slowly over time. Apply compost and manure to the soil surface and let the worms pull it down naturally. These silent workers do their job best when left alone. The deep diggers, anisic earthworms. The most dramatic of the worm world, anisic worms are deep burrowers that create permanent vertical tunnels in your soil. They feed on both surface debris and mineral-rich soil layers below, dragging organic matter down into their tunnels. One of the most famous is Lumbricus terrestris, the common nightcrawler. These worms are larger, darker, and capable of digging several feet down into the earth. Their deep tunnels act like nature's plumbing system. Water can penetrate further, air can reach the root zone, and plant roots can follow the trails created by worm movement. When it rains, these tunnels help prevent runoff and waterlogging. And because they deposit nutrient-rich castings deep underground, they fertilize at a depth few other organisms reach. So, to attract anisic worms, you really need to create an environment that mimics the forest floor. That means leaving organic material on the surface, like leaves, straw, or even chopped stems, and, making sure you avoid compacting or overworking the soil. These worms will actually come up at night to collect food and then return underground to process it. It's also important to keep the soil moist with deep, regular watering, especially during those dry spells. And, Try to avoid heavy chemical inputs since those can destroy the microbial partners that anisic worms totally depend on. Now it's important to mention that not all worms benefit your garden. Invasive earthworm species like Amynthas agrestis, also known as jumping worms, have been found in some regions and can actually damage soil structure. These worms feed so aggressively that they strip the organic matter layer entirely, leaving behind coarse, dry soil that, well, repels both water and roots. So if you notice worms that thrash violently or turn your mulch into coffee ground-like granules overnight, you may actually be dealing with a problem rather than a solution. If you suspect harmful worm species, avoid moving soil or compost between areas, and do not introduce worms into new locations unless you're absolutely sure of the species. Always source worms from trusted local suppliers if you're using them in a composting system. To attract a diversity of earthworm species, the surface workers, the soil mixers, and the deep diggers, you need to treat your garden like an ecosystem, not just a planting bed. Layer organic matter from the top down. Keep your soil moist but not soggy. Protect the surface with mulch and avoid disturbing the soil unnecessarily. Provide constant food sources, compost, plant trimmings, aged manure, and leaf mold. And most importantly, let time and biology do their work. Once these conditions are met, worms will come. And they won't just visit, they'll stay and multiply. Their presence creates a cascading effect. More worms mean more tunnels, more castings, better water retention, and healthier roots. And over time, your soil becomes self-sustaining. You'll use fewer inputs, grow stronger plants, and spend less time battling poor performance. Your job isn't to buy worms or force them in, it's to build the kind of soil that makes them want to stay. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to subscribe to Hydro Haven for more in-depth, science-backed gardening content that digs deep, literally. And if you know someone trying to figure out why their soil feels lifeless, share this video. Sometimes the secret to a thriving garden starts with inviting the right kind of worms to move in.